Sharing my screen. What? Don't tell me I managed to do it. I hope we have a student that's going to log in and tell me if she can see what we're supposed to see.
Oh, very cool.
But it won't go up there. I don't know why it won't. Like the easy one should be in the classroom. I've got it back there. I've got it here. Oh my God.
They added those over the summer.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to see what I'm writing, you may have to try. That would just be silly, right? I'm just like, oh my goodness. We have a video queue. Hello.
Dr. Newton hated that thing last semester. Or not, Professor Newton.
Yeah, that's crazy. It should be an easy flip it around kind of button.
Yes.
This is why I'm in here 30 minutes early. All right, so I'm starting to record now. For this course, I do not have any content videos, so I will be recording every class period here in Commerce and then uploading it into the D2L course. I'll try to get that done within 24 hours. If you're not here on one of the days, whether it's just not your day or if you're like, oh, I'm sick that day or whatever, within 24 hours, I'll try to have the D2L uploaded, and that way you can see whatever we did in class. It'll be so much fun. Okay. So as I go through, I've sent out the syllabus. Hopefully everybody's got one. If you're here in Commerce, we have them printed. So thank you. Okay. If you're not in Commerce, then what I'm going to ask is that you stay muted unless you have like a question that specifically relates to what we're talking about at that moment. I've had people before who are like, hey, my Wi-Fi is messed up. And I'm like, yeah, I need to run the class. So please work on your Wi-Fi by yourself or whatever that is. If you miss stuff, then you, of course, can go back and watch the video later. So that will be there available for you. I'm sorry. It's just we have to do the class, so it'll be great. If we stay face-to-face for the rest of the semester, then we'll get to know each other really well, I hope, and you'll hopefully get a flow for when you're going to be here and when you're not. Everybody got the email, I think, for who's coming on Tuesdays and who's coming on Thursdays and all that. So yay, I hope it works out well. I think that for the most part, if you wanted to come both days, I was able to do that. So I'd like to see you as many days as possible. If you're up for coming, then I'll be here, okay? So with that in mind, who am I? I'm Dr. Webster. My office is about halfway down that long hall of faculty offices, 315, and I've built most of my office hours around our class. So before this class and after this class, I'll be in my office or I'll be in here trying to make Zoom work. So feel free to drop in and talk to me and see me if you need help, that kind of thing. I'll be glad to work with you and answer questions. If that doesn't work for you, if you have a class right before or right after, then we can set up appointments. I try to be as flexible as possible and available for people. I can do Zoom, I can do Skype, whatever. So I'm not really upset about that. Hey there. Yep, one of each, please. And then sit in a seat that says, please sit here, which I guess there's one right there by the door, and there's one up here. So we can do that, and I'll work around stuff. I do have some Monday office hours in there, you can see. So if you would like to do those instead, then feel free. And if you don't want to come to my office, but you'd rather Zoom on my office hours, I can do that too. Okay, everybody knows that face coverings are required. I see you're all in compliance. Good job. Thank you very much for not being a hassle for that. Student illness, those two comments they want us to talk about. So if you are displaying any signs or symptoms that you may be sick, please just don't come to class. We're working around it so that everything is online so that you can get the content. So if it's like, oh, it's a test day and I have to go and I don't feel good and all that, I'll work with you. Okay, so especially in the current health situation, I just rather work with you and we'll see what we can make happen. Okay, so just don't come to class if you're feeling bad, it'll be okay. Okay, the textbook. The textbook is the Discovering Geometry, an Investigative Approach book with Michael Serra. So I think that most of you have probably already seen it. Maybe a couple of you emailed me about it and different things. It's a pretty big book. I think there's one in the library that you could probably, it's on reserve, but I'd have to check on that. There's definitely one in the Math Skills Center. Whenever we open next week with tutors that you could go in and borrow and take pictures or whatever until your book comes in. It's an older book, so it shouldn't be as expensive, I hope. It wasn't? No. Did you buy it? Okay, good. So hopefully it's not as expensive, and it's not that I'm trying to necessarily use an older book, it's just that they really don't have an update on it, and this is an amazing book. So I've stuck with it for years and years and years now. So if you can get that one, it's the one, I do know that there's another one out there, so it's the one with the guys doing carpentry on the front of it. So they're like hard hats and all that, but you should have the ISBN and all that on the syllabus. So hopefully everybody's got that. Okay. So here we are. Dun, dun, dun. That's your textbook. Supplies and stuff. Okay. This is just a weird class this semester, and geometry is a very hands-on kind of class. So you're going to need things like scissors and map colors and stuff like that. So my plan is, I just haven't gotten this far because I haven't got my TA on it yet, to kind of make everybody a little package, maybe a Ziploc baggie or something like that, where you'll have all of the stuff we're going to need, index cards and patty paper and stuff like that. And that's just stuff that's weird that you might not have around your house. So that's my plan, is to make one for everybody, and then you can just take it with you for the semester and it's just yours and use it at home and stuff like that. It'll include a safety compass and a protractor and that kind of stuff. I would like to get those back at the end of the semester if I can, because otherwise I have to buy new for new students. But for sure, you know, all the paper stuff and whatever you can keep. So that's kind of my plan. And then that way, if it's not your day to be in class, you can still do whatever activity we're doing. You'll just have to bring it back and forth with you to class. But that way we're not like touching the compass and then putting it back in and then touching another compass and who knows who did what. So if you kind of have your own assigned set, then that'll, I think, cut down on that type of stuff and having to wipe it or whatever. So that's my plan. I just haven't made it happen yet, so just be aware of that. But things like stapler, you know, if you've got that at home, scissors, those things are normal, but I don't expect everybody to have a compass around, and we will use them, so that'll be good. That's kind of my plan. All right, and then other things, you know, I can have available if we need it, but hopefully you've got your own set. All right. Calculators, there is a little bit of calculator work in here. We work with angles, and so you have to add them up and things like that. So you might want just a basic calculator. It's not going to be anything too crazy that you have to have a really fancy calculator. I'll almost always carry my 84, and that's just the one that I'm comfortable with. But if you have another calculator, a Casio or something, and you can use it, then I'm fine with that. Okay, so that's kind of the equipment you're going to need for the course. Course description and student learning outcomes, I'll let y'all read all of that stuff. The weirdness, I think everybody's already aware, is the back and forth, whether you're here 1 day or 2 days and all that. That's the hybrid course, and I apologize. It's just to be able to Zoom people, well, we thought, to be able to Zoom people and ITV people into Navarro and Mesquite, and then be able to do all of this stuff we needed. We needed one of these kinds of rooms, a Zoom room, and then it looks like that people may not actually be going to Mesquite and that kind of thing. So they may just be Zooming, and that's okay. So things have changed a little bit, but the room just won't hold 16 people. It's just not big enough for that with the current student groups. So this is where we are. All right. So make sure that you watch any days you're not here. Moving on, let's look at the grading policy. I think that's probably the stuff that students really care about. Yes, so that's a great question. What I'll do is, and I just haven't done anything with y'all shelves except for put in the syllabus right now. So I've got a welcome and a syllabus. That's all you guys got so far. But I will have a week 1 and a week 2 and a week 3. And so like starting today, I'll put up the week 1, and then I'll put in the video from today, and there'll be links to go out to YouTube and watch them. And all that stuff. So it'll be there. So if you're not here on Thursday, then you can just go to your D2L shell in week 1 and it'll be there. Good question. Really great question. Okay. All right, I think grading is the stuff that people care the most about. How am I going to get my score in here? So daily work, 15%. Projects and reflections, I'll talk about those in a second, 20%. Tests, 40%. And the comprehensive final is 25%, but your comprehensive final is optional, okay? And we've done this this will be my 3rd semester doing this because of this stuff going on. We did it in the spring, we did it in the summer, and it actually seems to be working out pretty well for students. It takes a little stress off whenever it's final exam time. So what that means for us, we'll take test 2 the week of Thanksgiving. Okay, it'll be that Tuesday. We have class that Tuesday, so be around the week of Thanksgiving. So we'll take that test, and then I'll grade it over the holiday. And if you're happy with your grade after test 2, then you can just be done with the class. Okay, optional final. And what I'll do is at that point, you will have 75% of your grade. So I'll just give you your score out of the 75%. Okay, if you're happy. But if you didn't do well on exam 1, or if for some reason you missed exam 2 and you're like, oh, I need to replace that test, then you'll want to take the final, and I'll replace your lowest test with the final exam, and we'll work that out. But does everybody know that the university wants us not to come back after Thanksgiving, like face to face? So that's what we're leaning toward doing. We're trying to get that to happen. So if you decide to take the final exam, it would be online proctored exam at that point. And you would need a webcam and internet that's stable and all of that stuff. So, or you could come and take it at the testing center or something like that if you're in commerce, but they're trying to get us not to force you to do that. So you could do an online proctored test. It would be okay. But what's happened in the last couple of semesters, I've noticed, is students kind of go, oh, I'm happy with my A, I'm happy with my B, and I don't want to study for that final. If you take it, I will count it in your grade. So you have to think, oh, so I had a girl who had a B, and she was like, I could get an A if I scored like a 98, but if I only score like, it was like a 76 or something, I'll get a C, you know, that kind of thing. She was like, I don't want to do that. So she didn't risk her B kind of thing. So that's just a decision you have to make when you get closer, because if you take it, if I grade it, it counts. Okay, so just be aware of that. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Okay, grading scale is the standard scale. Yeah, so let's talk about those things. If you flip the page, daily grades are just what you think they would be, homework and quizzes. And the weirdness for this semester is, because of the current health situation, I don't want to pick up papers from you guys, no offense. Okay, but I don't want to pass them around, and that's why I put the piles in the back. I don't want everybody touching everything, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to have you do for homework and stuff like that is to scan it and upload it into D2L, and then I'll grade it digitally using my really cool digital pen that I've gotten really good at over the summer because I had to. And it'll just be there in your D2L, and you'll have feedback and all of that, just like you normally would, but it'll be digital. And so in order to do that, you need some kind of scanner, okay? If you're here on campus, or if you come to campus on a regular basis, the library has one that is totally free, and you just scan it and make it a PDF and send it and upload it and all that, and it's easy to do. You just attach it. D2L is actually pretty easy to do if you're good at clicking. Okay, so that scanner, if you have a printer that scans, that makes it easy to do. If you don't have access to any of that, you can use an app on your phone. What I don't want is JPEGs, okay? Because JPEGs I can't grade on. Okay, I need a PDF file that I can access and annotate, and that works really well. And the JPEGs, just, they come in a different format, they go to a different thing, and they come out weird. It's just hard to work with. So we need a PDF. If you can, like if you're using Cam Scanner or iScanner, one of those apps, they'll scan it as a single batch is what they call it. So if you have 5 pieces of paper, you just scan them all into one file, and I have a video. I'll put it online so y'all can see. So you just scan them as one file, say this is my 1.1 homework, and put it online. It's easy. The thing I say about that is just be aware of what your scan looks like, because, and if you need to, crop it, make sure it's nice and clean and pretty, because I'm not even fibbing. I had a girl who was clearly, she was barefooted, and she was sitting cross-legged and had her paper on her foot like this, and she took a picture with her phone, and I had a picture of her bare foot. So, I mean, I had the thing, but I can see your foot in the background. And I'm just like, okay, you could have cropped that and made it pretty. If it's got dark edges, just crop it in a little bit, retake it. If you need to change the lighting so that it's not dark, that kind of stuff. So just be aware what that looks like. And then once you do it a little bit, it gets easier. So that's kind of the weird thing. You're not turning in papers face to face. Okay. The nice part about that is it means that I'm going to give you until 11:59 at night. So like if we had a homework due on Thursday, you wouldn't have to bring it to class at 2. You could work on it in the afternoon, in my office hours, whatever, and then just have it to me before midnight. So, yeah.
So the homework would be due, given on Tuesday, would be due by Thursday?
I actually normally give 1 week for homework, and that's just my personal policy, because I feel like if I assign it on Tuesday, then Thursday you could ask me questions, and then Tuesday you could hand it back in. That's what I normally do in a face-to-face class. So I feel like you need time in case and people have lives, right? So some people may not be able to do homework except for Sunday afternoon. So whether it's Tuesday or Thursday, you'll have a Sunday afternoon during that week. So I just feel like a week is a good amount of time. There will be a few exceptions to that, like the project I'm going to assign today. It's an email project, and it's just tell me about yourself kind of stuff. So it'll be due by the end of the week, just because it's easy and you're not going to have homework really. So you've got time to do it. Or maybe, I hope you have time to do it. So I don't stress out about those, but a regular homework assignment a week. It's a really great question. All right, so that's kind of the only weird thing I think about homework and quizzes. A lot of your quizzes will actually be in D2L, because that way everybody can just access it whether you're here or not, and it'll have a due date on it, and you just turn it in whenever it's due. It'll be all right. And then the weird thing for this class is class activities, projects, and reflections. So this is geometry. We're going to be doing a bunch of geometry stuff, which includes constructions and playing with the software. Some of you already started looking at the software, right? In the original syllabus, it said something about Geometry Sketchpad, but the more I've played with GeoGebra, the better I feel about it. And I think we can do everything I want to do in GeoGebra. It should be a free software, which is better for you guys. And it's just a matter of I'm used to playing with the other one, but they've discontinued it. So they don't want to sell new licenses. And so then if we were all on campus, it wouldn't be a big deal. You just go to the math lab to use it. But in the current situation, I'm like, okay, we're going to GeoGebra. So it might take me a little bit of time, but I will call these things labs or projects, and it'll be like, okay, go construct such and such in the software and label and do this and do that, and then send me the file. So a lot of your projects will be that way. Some of them will be reflection type stuff. The one today I said is that getting to know you project. So those kinds are really more education kind of projects, and they're easier for the grading for you guys, because if you do it and you do a good job of it, it's just 100. If you don't do it, it's 0. So that's easy for me. So it's easy for you, it's easy for me. So the projects, I will say you might have 10 or 15 projects, and they're 20% of your grade. So that's close to 1 percentage point each. So the projects are going to be more important than homework and quizzes, which you'll have a ton of those, right? And they're only worth 15%. So if it comes down to it, it's like I can do my project or I can do my homework, do the project, right? So hopefully you give enough time to do both, but if you're running short on time, projects count more. Okay, so do projects. Okay, so don't leave a bunch of zeros on the projects. That would be bad. That would actually hurt your grade a lot. So those will come out. I normally do maybe one every week or two. It just depends on how fast I am at changing it over to the new GeoGebra and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be all right. Tests. 2 tests, I already mentioned them. The dates are on the next page. The week of October 5th and the week of Thanksgiving. So you'll have those, and they count a bunch, so make sure you're prepped. I do give a test review the week before, and then the class period before we'll review.
In regards to that software that you're talking about, will we, I mean, I've never used it before, I don't know if everyone here has, will we just be expected to like use it?
No, we'll do a demonstration day. So, and if it happens to not be your day to be in here, I'll record it like I'm recording these, and hopefully you can, you know, see what's going on from home, and you'll have a chance to play with it a little bit.
So it's just something we need to download on our home computers?
I thought it was a download, but then it's kind of like you can just use it online. Okay. So whichever it is, because there's 2 different versions for students. It's a version 5 and 6, I think. So if your device, if it is a download for you, I don't know, it's weird. So if it is a download for you and your device will take this version 6, then I would do that. because it's going to have more bells and whistles. But yeah, it's just something that you'll go out and pull up. It was very easy for me to find and start playing with. So, but yeah, we'll have it before you have a lab due from that. We'll have a demonstration day in here, and we'll say, oh, look at this. Oh, you can do that. And I may even, if I can think about it in advance far enough, I may even say, like, bring your laptop or bring your tablet, and then y'all can play with me. So that would be awesome. Yeah, that's a good question. I like it. That one's going to be a little weird because, you know, new software. It'll be all right. Very good. Test. I already talked to you about the final exam. I think there's two things about that. If you take it, it's online. So be ready to do online proctoring. And if you take it, it's at a special day and time. It's Tuesday, December 8th at 1:15. So that's a weird day and time for us. But if you take it, I would email in advance and make sure you knew, and, you know, don't be working that day and time, that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be all right. We'll get there. If you don't take it, if you're happy with your grade, then you just have a great Thanksgiving. We did it. Weird things for this class as far as technology requirements, all the normal internet calculator stuff like that. But if you end up needing to Zoom with me or Skype with me or anything like that, or if you end up doing the online final exam, or heaven forbid, if they push us to an online situation where the whole class is online, then you'll be able to do online proctoring. And so you need a webcam and stable internet. Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping for not going fully online like we had to do in the spring. That really stunk. I heard some of y'all talking about that. I was like, I'm glad the students thought that stuff too, because I didn't like it. So yeah, that and then a scanner. So make sure you have access to both of those, or scanner app. That's fine. Okay, so all of that stuff, make sure you can use D2L. If you have questions about D2L as we go along, I'll point you in the right direction. The biggest stuff that I use is under content. That's where all of your modules will be for the weeks, where you'll access your videos and stuff like that. And then under activities is where your quizzes and stuff like that will be, assignments, where you'll drop things in whenever you scan, all of that. So, and as we go through it, I'll make sure everybody knows where they're putting stuff and all that. All right. These are just the generic policies. So as I flip, I just know that you guys can read. I'm not going to read everything to you. So the big one that I think maybe we need to talk about at this point is the common decency one, being polite to everybody around you and that kind of stuff, respectful. I think just whenever things get tense, people have a way of, oh, I'm mad, or they're annoying me or whatever. So just be aware of that and try to be kind to everybody around you. Be aware that if you have 6 absences, that's a 5th of the course. So if you start running up absences and not keeping up with content, that's a lot. So at some point, if you're really, really prone to absences, you might need to talk to me, have some advice going on that. As far as if it's not your day in class, or if you're one of the Zoom people that's online, that kind of thing, I'm going to do attendance based on whether I can see you on Zoom or whether or not you're doing stuff that we did that day. So if I see that, oh, we did the 1.1 thing activity in class, oh, they turned it in on Zoom, then you'll get credit for participating for that day. So don't stress out about, oh, I wasn't there at 2 o'clock, that kind of thing. If you watch the videos later, I'll be able to figure it out that you watched the videos, because I'll see that you linked out to them. And there's a, what do they call it, class progress in D2L, so I can see whether or not you've done stuff. And you'll be all right. Just keep up with stuff. Don't get behind. Okay. Student conduct, be good, attend class, and don't cheat. Okay. There's a whole huge page worth of stuff about academic integrity and making sure that you're not doing things you're not supposed to. The biggest thing for that is on tests, and the tests I plan to give face-to-face, so I feel like we'll probably be okay with that, unless they push us online, and then we'll see how that goes. But even then, we'll do online proctoring, so we'll be all right. I don't love messing with those kinds of situations, but I will if I have to. So don't push me. Non-discrimination notice. We're gonna treat everybody nicely in here. Be a problem. The disabilities notice. If you have a disability, if you want me to know about your accommodations, make sure that you have the disabilities office send me your letter. Okay. And then I can work with you, like if you need extended time or this or that. If you're like, I'm good without it and I don't want you to know about it, then just don't send it and it's fine. Okay, it's all up to you whether you do that or not. And the last policy there, the concealed carry guns. You are allowed to have one in our classroom as long as it is concealed and you have a license to carry or a CHL. If you do not bring a gun to the classroom. Ta-da. There you go. All right. The very last page is the schedule for the semester, and it just tells you what I've just told you, which is exam dates and stuff like that. Whew. All right, I've been talking for a while. That's plenty of talking going on. Any questions about the syllabus? Let's talking going on. Really good. I must have done a really good job explaining. Just tired and bored. It's been a long day. I'm just saying. Yeah.
You did mention a project about ourselves. That's not this one.
It is not.
Okay.
I will talk to you about that in a second, actually. So, anything else? All right, cool. Well, let's start then. Speaking of projects, so we do have, because the first day is kind of like, we're going to cover a little bit of content, but we're not going to have a tough time on doing stuff. So because of that, I like to do a getting to know you project for the first day. So what I want you to do is, and this helps me in a couple of ways. One, it helps me get to know you a little bit better, put a name with a face and all that. We're going to do a face-to-face portion, and then we're going to do an email portion. So now we're going to introduce ourselves. This should be fun with the Zoom people. We'll see. And I don't know that I can make it show. I might be able to change it to active speaker. We'll see how that goes. But if not, we'll hear your voices or read your texts, and it'll be lovely. Okay. So what I want to know is your name. What's your major? Any hobby that you have? And something cool. Something cool about you. By that I mean something cool about you. I know that's not the word the kids are using these days, man. But it's something that maybe it's interesting about you. It sets you apart. Not everybody in the classroom will be able to say, I do such and such and such and such, whatever that is. So I'm going to give you a second to think about that, and then we'll introduce ourselves to the whole entire group. And then usually I would pair you up and you get to talk for 5 or 10 minutes and visit. And yeah, we're not doing that. And then you'd introduce your new friend, that kind of thing. So we're not doing that. Sorry. So you lose the opportunity to talk to everybody, but you gain the opportunity to introduce yourself. So we're going to do that, and then, yeah, I'll talk to you about what you're going to email me. Yeah, take just a second to think. Does everybody on Zoom have the ability to speak? You have microphones? Or you need to text? You need to do the chat. If you do not have a microphone, maybe you can just send me a chat, like type it in. All right, I'm gonna start with the commerce people. I'll use them as my guinea pigs. Who would like to go first? Hey.
My name is Summer Molentierno. My major is math 4 through 8. As far as hobbies, I am a busy full-time mom with 2 teenagers, so my hobbies are pretty much whatever they want to do. Swimming, fishing, their sports, whatever. Eventually I'll have hobbies when they go to college. Something cool, prior to my husband being transferred to Texas, I owned a liquid nitrogen ice cream shop.
Oh,
So that was pretty fun, yeah.
nice.
And when we moved, I had to close it, so here I am.
We could use one of those in commerce.
I've heard that a lot about this area, and I tasted the ice cream, and it's not very good, so.
I'm running the water.
You're probably right at least a little bit about that. All right, so Summer, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Who else? Made me pick on you.
It's okay. I'm Jessica. I'm also a 4 through 8 math major. A hobby of mine, I watch a lot of movies. That's my pastime. And something cool to go with that, I actually work at a movie rental store here in Commerce. It's kind of like Blockbuster, but we never closed down or anything like that. We still have a bunch of stores. So it's actually just up the road here on Live Oak Street.
Is it the family
The
movies?
family video, yeah.
Family video. Very cool. What kind of movie?
All of them.
Okay,
Okay, mine is horror. I can't do horror movies, but like the classics.
I'll have nightmares. All right, very good. Thank you. Next.
My name is Summer Johnson. I'm 4 through 8 math. I love to read, and over the summer, I was able to read all 7 Harry Potter books in 3 weeks.
Nice. You're like immersed. I have read them all, but not that fast. They were really well written, don't you think? I was like, for a kid's book, I was like,
Next goal is to read them all in a week. Next break or something.
you'll be not sleeping. Who else?
My name is Demondre Lauderdale. I'm a math major with a minor in secondary education. My hobby, besides eating and sleeping, I guess, I like to play the game occasionally, play Madden 2K. Something cool about me, I'm an only child. I don't really think there's anything just super spectacular about me, but I'm an only child. I'm pretty shy, believe it or not. I'm pretty shy. And I'm a member of the fraternity on this campus. That's it.
Very cool. Remember that. Are you on the football team?
Yeah, I'm still on the football team.
I was
We're
like,
not having a season, but yeah, I'm
I
still there.
is it gonna be in spring or are they gonna?
I was actually talking to my coach today because I'm not trying to be off topic. But, he was just saying like they may move it actually to next fall because I wasn't gonna like be here in the fall, so I didn't plan on working out or being a part of football this semester. And then they was gonna have spring ball, but I had an internship at a hospital in the spring,
Oh, cool.
so I wasn't gonna be able to play football. But he was saying something about it. They may bring it back next fall. So
Interesting.
I'm
Okay.
still on the team and the roster, but if they have football in the spring, I will be interning, trying to graduate in the spring.
Yeah, I can't be playing with that.
I'm done.
It's time to graduate, man.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, cool. Who else? I'm gonna pick on you.
Okay.
Go for it.
My name is Garrett. My major is 4th through 8th math and science. I used to be a music major, so I can play drums. So I guess that's kind of like a hobby. I guess for something interesting is I work at a landscaping company, which is not very exciting, but it is different. So.
Is it around here?
No, it's in McKinney.
Okay.
I commute here, so.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I think that's interesting. Who else? Oh.
My name is Maria Cavazos. I couldn't really think of either a hobby or something cool about me, but I'm a mom of an 18-month-old, and I guess, only pastime, my only me time is late at night on social media. So that's, I guess, my greatest hobby right now. He keeps me busy.
It is also interesting. Nice. Is that it? Okay.
I'm Gabriel Cunningham. I'm a 4th through 8 math major. And I like football, basketball, playing video games. And something interesting about me is I have 7 siblings. So that's a lot.
So that makes 8 of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm the 3rd youngest, so it's pretty wild.
A lot of people running around the house. And yes.
I'm Ashley. I'm an interdisciplinary studies major for 4 through 8 for math and ESL.
Okay.
My hobby, I guess, would be riding my bike. And the interesting part about me is I play the violin.
Oh, the violin. Very nice. I'm impressed because I tried to play a fiddle once. That's what it sounded like. So very nice. And then there was one.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm a computer science major, and my hobbies are basically reading and working out.
Okay.
I don't really have anything interesting about me.
I'm boring.
I'm boring. I am very boring.
I don't believe that, but okay. Cool. All right, and then there were all of the people on Zoom, so let me pick on you as I see you. Mary, could you say something about yourself?
My name is Mary Vesledge. My major is 4th through 8 math. I don't really have time for a hobby. I just work and do school. And then something cool about me is I'll be graduating 2 years ahead of my high school class.
Oh, wow. She's working it. Okay, so then I see Samantha. Can you share?
I'm Samantha Bowers. My major is 4th through 8th grade science and math. My hobby is I like to watch wrestling with my baby cousins. And something cool about me, I work for a marketing brand to help people with their health and wellness.
Cool. All right, then I see Christina.
I'm Christina. My major is 4th through 8th grade math. Hobbies include working and going to the lake every weekend. And something cool is I own a jet ski.
Oh, I love a jet ski. Excellent. All right, Amberly?
Hi, I'm Amberly. My major is 4th through 8th math, and then my hobbies are really just watching Netflix and working out. And then something cool, I guess, is I'm on the cheer team here, so.
Oh, awesome. You're probably also not doing a lot right now, though. No pep rallies and such, man.
It's gonna be a dead fall.
I know, it's very difficult. Like they didn't have the lion walk and all that. Man, it's crazy. All right, and then I see Alexis. Can you introduce yourself?
My name's Alexis. My major is 4th through 8th math, and my hobbies are going out to eat with my friends. And something cool about me, I don't really have anything cool. I think the coolest thing about me is my 2-year-old that just turned 3, but that's about it.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so according to my roster, there are still 4 people. So I'm assuming that those are my people who didn't get Tuesday, so they'll be the third in here on Thursday. So my plan is to make them introduce themselves on Thursday. Okay, so if not, then maybe I'll make them do a discussion or something online. So we'll find out about those people. It's not like they're getting out of it forever. Okay. So that's now, so for your project, I know, this is your first project grade, so you want to do it so you get a full 100 and figure it out, how to contact me in an email and how to get back and forth with me. I want to know a few things, so you can go ahead with the name again, just to make sure that I've got it, because sometimes I can't really figure out your email addresses by your email addresses, who you are. Okay, so go ahead with your name. Go ahead and tell me if there's anything special I need to know about you, and I'll define that. Something special to me, as I don't mean like my mama tells me I'm special. Okay, so everybody is special in their own way. By that I mean anything that might affect your attendance in class or might throw you off somehow, off the schedule. So for instance, I've had women who were 8 or 9 months pregnant and they're like, I'm gonna have that baby in the middle of the semester, you know, so those kinds of things, of course, they end up being a little bit behind on the work or something. I just kind of want to know if something's coming up that might be a problem. Not that a baby's a problem, but you know what I mean. Whenever I see, I had a student a couple of semesters ago that was a type 1 diabetic, and he was like, I can crash, you know, my blood sugar can crash. So I take my blood sugar once an hour and I do this and I do that. And so if you see me doing this, I want you to know what's going on and that kind of stuff. So if there's something unusual like that, that I might have to know about for class purposes, that it might interfere with class or disrupt, or you might not be here for some reason that you know of in advance, then go ahead and tell me those things. So go ahead and tell me something special. If there's not anything, you just say, I don't have anything special. Go away. And I'll leave you alone. It'll be okay. And the third thing is I want to know, and this is kind of vague, but I want to know your future plan when you grew up, kind of thing. I know probably everybody wants to be a teacher, but what do you want to do with it? So most of you said math or some version of math, right? So what do you want to do with that when you grow up? If you're 4th through 8 math, do you have a particular school district you want to work with? Is there a reason why you want to do what you're wanting to do, that kind of thing? So the future plan bit is going to be the biggest portion of this particular project, and it should be more than just a 2-word answer, okay? It should be 2 to 3 sentences, that kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about what you're wanting to do with your life whenever you are no longer an A&M Commerce student. So give me that. It kind of just gives me a bit of a feel for who you are and what you're doing with your life, and that lets me get to know you a little bit better. I'm not making guarantees on knowing your names right in the next week, especially since some of you I won't even see you again until next week, but I'll do my best to learn your names and faces and put everything together and know who you are. It's a small enough class, even with the juggling, that I will hopefully soon be able to call you all by name. So that's always a goal for me. All right. Don't see anything there. Okay, so there's your first project. Yay, good deal, done. If you're not here in Commerce, never fear, I will get the next couple of things I'm going to project up online in the D2L. When you go to D2L, you pick our Math 301 course. As I said a minute ago, at the top, kind of left-handed side, there is a tab that'll say content. And when you click on that, I will have a week 1 module, okay? And everything that I'm about to show you paper-wise, I will upload in there. And so if you don't have it in your hand right this second, you can get it from up there and print it or whatever you need to do. So the next thing I want to talk about. All right, doing okay on time.
The email.
Oh, when? Hi, Friday. And people are like, that's not even one of our classes. I know. So send me that project email by Friday. It shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you're really, searching hard. And you're, what do I want to do with my life? So just send me the email. And because it's an email, I don't feel like it needs to be like on Thursday or something. Get that to me. Good question.
You can eat before Friday.
Oh yeah, send it today. Get it done, not during class. Okay. So yeah, send it today and be done with it. And if you do it, give me more than a couple of sentences on the future plan, you're gonna get 100. It's easy. It's the way to start out the grade book with 100 in it. That's awesome. So we can do it. Okay. All right. The next thing that I have is this kind of golden colored sheet that I handed out in class. It says Project Creative Geometry Glossary, okay? Normally, I would kind of make you do this, but what I've discovered in the last couple of years is that our math education classes, the elementary, the 1350, 1351, have started assigning the same project. They it's okay. I shared it. It's not a deep. So anyway, if you've had 1350, 1351 from A&M Commerce, you should already have a glossary. I'm seeing a couple of nods. Okay. If you haven't had 1350 and 1351, then this is something that it's just background information. I'm not going to spend tons and tons of time going over definitions, because I don't feel like that's the way to learn geometry. I feel like you learn geometry from doing it and playing with it and seeing the problems and working them. So my plan is that you'll get all of these words, point, line, segment, ray, line, parallel lines, perpendicular lines. If you don't know what those are already, you'll get them as we go along. And if one of them comes up and you're like, wait, can you define perpendicular line for me? I'm glad to do it. Okay, but most of these things I feel like you should already kind of have in your back pocket. Okay, some of them not. Maybe you don't know what a simple curve is. Okay, so you can either go and look these things up and get yourself your own glossary and an idea of what these things are, or as we come to them through the semester, you can, okay, what was that? What's the difference between an isosceles triangle and an equilateral triangle again? And we'll get those definitions kind of as we go. Yeah, so if you have it, dig that glossary out. If you don't have it, then start working on yours just to make sure you have definitions. For instance, I've got one done for us right here, point, okay? Point is a term, and actually point is one of the more difficult terms to define in my opinion, because we all know what you mean by a point, right? It's like a little dot right there, and I have a picture. Okay, this is a picture of a point. Okay, and then I have a definition, and that's the part that's hard. And in geometry, we want to be a little bit specific, because if we're not, then we might be describing more than what we think we are. And I'll give you an example in a minute. So for me, a point represents only a location in space. It does not have width or length or depth. Okay, so it's just a certain location in space. So I can have a point right up here in the middle of the air, right? That point. It's kind of like it has its own GPS coordinates, okay? And I can have a point that's right here on the board, or I can have a point right here on the glossary. And all of those points are just a location in space. That's all it is, okay? And whenever I draw it on my paper, it just gives us a reference. Okay, that's all we're doing here. So as we go through, by the way, normally, I'll throw this out here. As we go through, we would normally label a point as a capital letter. So points get capital letters, okay? So as you go through and you do see those things, if you had something, y'all tell me real quickly, what's a line segment? Anything? part of a line. How do I need a little more for that.
The line is a point that keeps going and never stops.
Okay, a line goes forever in both directions, and so she's saying it's part of it. So for instance, the reason I'm being picky.
Is it like a coordinate of the line?
A line goes forever in both directions, but a ray can be part of this line. Okay, let's call this point B. Y'all see that? The line goes forever in both directions. The ray can be part of the line, and it starts at B and goes on. So you don't really mean that, because that would give you a ray instead of a segment. So what do you really mean? A portion of a line that's between two endpoints, right? So maybe she means this little segment here between B and C. And I'm not going to be like overly sticklery about stuff like that, but sometimes we have to be a little bit careful that we don't define something we didn't mean to. So I might say, oh, give me a little bit more on that definition, that kind of thing. So those are three things right there already. For instance, you could say, and it can be little stuff, an isosceles triangle has at least two congruent sides. Well, what am I including if I say at least?
There's going to be at least two.
Okay, so
At minimum.
normally we would think of an isosceles triangle, and we'll call him A, B, and C, as having two congruent sides, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but if I say at least, that also includes the third side, right? So that would mean that this guy, let's call him D, E, F, this guy is included inside of the isosceles triangles. Okay, so you need to think about that. Do I want equilateral triangles, or do I really just want an isosceles triangle that has two congruent sides? So if it's exactly two congruent sides, then we need to throw in that word exactly. But if it's at least, then you know, I can include the DEF guy. So the reason I mention that is because, and this is just a weird thing, it's come up lots of times over the years. A trapezoid is supposed to have one set of parallel lines, but some textbooks will say at least. Okay, well, if it's at least one set of parallel lines, then that means a parallelogram is also a trapezoid. And I don't think that they really mean that, because that's not true. So you just kind of have to watch it. And sometimes even textbooks can be wrong. They can have weirdness in their definition. So watch out for that. Anyway, so here's this project. I'm going to put it online so that everybody has a list of all the words that you should know coming into the class. Kind of as a background. If you don't, like I said, we'll get them. Don't stress out on me. But because there's a lot of stuff in here. But I'm not going to take it up as an activity. I just want you to have it and be able to, oh, yeah, I know the difference between a segment and an array. Sure, I got that. You know, so it's more of a conceptual issue for me that you understand the differences. Then I'm not going to make you regurgitate it out on a test. Does that make sense? So for me, some of you have me in other classes, some of you have not. On a test, for a testing situation, I'm pretty likely to, instead of making you say, an isosceles triangle has exactly two congruent sides, I'm more likely to like give you these three pictures and say, which of these is an isosceles triangle? Okay. A, B, or C, or whatever my answers are. Maybe it's lowercase a, lowercase b, lowercase c, something like that. Which of those is an isosceles triangle? Which of those is a right triangle? Draw a picture for me of a right triangle. So that's what I mean by more conceptual. I want to make sure you got it and you can apply it and you can do it instead of just regurgitating a definition. That doesn't hold value to me. For me personally. So that's kind of the way I do things, just be aware. All right. Non-tests, they're always fun. You'll have multiple choice and true false.
So no due date or submission of anything like this?
No, I'm not taking this up for a grade, so not for a grade. But I'll expect you to have the background knowledge or pick it up as we go. So you might want to, since we don't have a homework right now, you might want to start going through the things and go, yeah, I know what that is, or ooh, closed figure, what does that mean? And you can just go Google it and find it. Oh, okay, I know what that means, no problem. Okay. Is everybody all right with what I'm after here? Nothing from the room? All right. The last thing I put back there is this thing on building blocks of geometry. And this is all about the first section of your book, which is all about the terminology, a lot of which is in that glossary thing. So that's why I put it back there. We will actually do this. It will actually be for a grade, but I'm not going to finish it. I will work on it on Thursday. So it'll be like due next week sometime. So, but look and see how it says, number 1 says the midpoint of PQ is. Guess what? If you don't know what midpoint is, you can't do this problem, right? So it's a vocabulary problem at this point. So you look at PQ, and what does midpoint mean? The middle, and which means, what does middle mean for us in this, when we're talking about a distance? The middle would be the point that halves it, right? So these are equal distances. So we really literally mean middle being halfway, okay? So then we're looking for, oh, and y'all didn't even say anything when I did this, so I assume everybody is okay. What do these little hashy things mean?
Congruent.
Congruent, right? So if ABC has 1 hash mark, but DEF has 2, why did I do it that way?
The sides aren't the same length for each triangle.
Good. DE is not the same length as AB, right? So I want to make sure I give them different numbers of congruent lines. But DE is congruent to EF, so those need to have the same number of congruent lines. So it's just that kind of geometry stuff that sometimes I take for granted. If I do something weird like that, just say, hey, oh, what does that mean? You know, so sometimes I just, oh, they know what that means, but you may not. So that's what's going on here with this first problem. And when I look, I see PS has a double hash mark and SQ has a double hash mark. That means those are the same, which means S is the halfway point, right? So the midpoint, answer to number 1, the midpoint of PQ is S. Exactly. Okay, so again, that's just kind of a definition thing, and we'll get some of that, we'll work on it. But I wanted you guys to have it for today's class so that you'll have it in your pocket if you're not coming on Thursday. Okay, and again, I'll get those online for everybody.
You don't have a due date for this yet?
I do not, no, but it will be due next week, probably Thursday is my guess.
You like answering the question on here, or if we had it?
What you got?
It's not really you trying to get an answer, but more so understanding.
Sure.
So number 2, is that N times Q, or how is it?
No, that's a really good question. So normally, let's talk a little bit more about notation, shall we? So normally, whenever you have 2 letters that are sitting side by side, and again, this is just kind of geometry basic stuff. If you had a geometry class in high school, some of this might be familiar, but some people didn't take geometry in high school, so they're like, what in the world? So that one is NQ. Okay, so they've just got it side by side, and I actually really hate it whenever they do this because there's supposed to be some kind of notation with it. Okay, so it could be a segment, in which case they just put a little line on top of it, or it could be array, okay, and sometimes people actually put the endpoints. Array has 1 endpoint but goes forever in the other direction, or it could be a line, right? Okay, now they didn't use any of those, so we have to kind of use a little bit of thought process, so let's look at it. In Q, okay, there are 2 points, and it says equals, NQ equals. So whenever it says equals, that tells me it either equals another segment that has an equal measurement, or they want me to give them a measurement. Does that make sense? Because it's equal. So I've got to figure out something because I don't know. I know that PS is 3. That's the only piece of information they gave me. Okay, so NQ is way out here, right? So I heard PS is congruent to NP and it's congruent to SQ. So what does that mean for NQ? Okay, that means right here, this is 3 centimeters, this is 3 centimeters, and this is 3 centimeters. Everybody agree? Because they've got those congruency marks on them. So NQ would be what? 9 centimeters, exactly. Okay. So yeah, they didn't use it, and the reason they didn't use it is because they want a measurement. Why do I hate that they just want you to infer? Normally they should just put the stinking little segment symbol up there, but they didn't. But why do I know it's not array?
Because it doesn't have a dot and then an open arrow or just an arrow.
No, because they didn't put any symbol up there. So, I mean, it could be array, but what?
They're both on the end.
There you go, stop on the point.
Okay, so, and they want a measurement, right? They want, so NQ equals, they want something that it's equal to. And so that tells me they're looking for a measurement. Can I measure array? No, because it goes forever. So then I know, oh, that would be infinity, right? So they don't want infinity, probably, we assume. That's why they should have put a thing up there. But they're trying to make you think a little bit more about it. And it's probably not the line in Q, because again, that goes forever in both directions, and I can't measure that either. Okay, so 2 letters side by side almost always means some kind of a segment or a line or array. It's a distance is what they're looking for there. Good question though. While we're at it, what does this guy mean?
Angle.
Yeah, angle ABC, right? Okay, so that little, that symbol means angle. And I heard Demondre say, it's gotta be this guy. Yeah, see him? ABC. So when they list it, that B guy that's in the middle, he's the one that's on the vertex, okay? So you could have written angle B in this case, because there's no other angle that the B could be. If I had other angles coming off of that same spot, I'd have to be more specific. But yeah, I could have just said that. All right, yay. So we'll work more on that stuff a little bit on the rest of the week, but I want to get one thing going before it's time for our class to be over. I think I have 7 minutes. 7 minutes, maybe 5, depends on which thing I'm reading. So the first big section that we're gonna work on, and I just wanna give y'all a little bit of a feel for this, is all about parallel lines. Okay. And we'll talk more about this on Thursday for sure, like the whole class probably on Thursday will be all kinds of stuff about parallel lines, but some of you won't be here on Thursday. So all about parallel lines and properties of things that happen with them. So I've got these 2 lines drawn side by side. Do y'all believe they're parallel?
Probably not exactly 100%, but close enough.
Probably not 100% because of human error, right? It's very difficult to make them exactly parallel. So Demondre is just willing to take my word for it, but I wouldn't be so trusting if I were him. I would insist that I make a little symbol on it that tells us, I know it may not be exactly parallel, but please, please, please just assume that they are. Does anybody know what that symbol looks like? Unequal.
Is the 2 hash marks that are side by side?
No, because these are lines, so I can't have their measure necessarily.
Is it like a greater or less than sign?
It is. It's this sign. Okay, it's a greater than, or I could have put it over here and it would look like a less than. That's right. So if I have two lines and they have that little, I call it a chevron, okay, whatever you want to call it, the greater than or the less than sign on it, then that means parallel. So let me label this line L and this line M. Okay. Notice that whenever I'm labeling segments or lines and stuff like that, it's not a capital letter, it's a lowercase letter. Okay. Points are capital letters. Okay. So what I would say is L is parallel to M. Let me read that. L is parallel to M. Okay. L, the little straight up and down sign mean is parallel to. Okay. So L is parallel to M. Why do I care? Why is that important? What does that tell you?
The 2 lines will never touch.
The two are never going to touch. Okay, that's what we think about for parallel. Which means if you kind of think back to your algebra days, they have the same slope, right? Okay, parallel lines have the same slope. You probably memorized that at some point. The reason why they're not touching is because if this one's angled at 15 degrees, then this one's angled at 15 degrees, right? So we know they're never going to touch. So they have the same slope. Yay, very good. I'm going to draw in here a line going through them both, and I'm going to call him line P. Oh, for brownie points. Line P is called, it does intersect both lines, but that's not its name. No brownie points today. Transversal. I know, it's a weird word, right? Line P is called a transversal. And because it's a line and it goes on forever and ever and ever, and it cut through one of them, that means it cut through the other one. And by the way, line, when we say line in here, we mean straight lines, right? We're not talking about something that's a curvy thing or whatever. So the slope at the top part of this line P is the same as the slope at the bottom part of line P, right? No matter what 2 points you use on line P, they will have the same slope between them, algebraically speaking. Okay, so whenever it cuts through L and M, interesting things happen. And so, what time is it? It's about time to go. I'm going to label these angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When a transversal cuts through two parallel lines, they will create 8 angles, okay? And I'll almost always label them the way that I just did. Start at the top left, 1, go to the right, 2, go down, 3, 4. So if you're ever copying stuff from Dr. Webster, it's almost always the angles are in the same order like that. Okay, so do y'all know anything about those angles? Garrett? Is that right? Not Gabriel.
No,
Gabriel. Garrett. Gabriel.
Yes.
Gabriel says he knows something. Sorry. I'll keep you straight. The cheese.
So the angles that are like opposite each other, like 1 and 4, they're congruent.
Okay. I'm hearing angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. I'll write that out. I won't always write it out, but this will let you know what those weird symbol means. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. Okay. So that's how I write it, angle 1, angle 4, and all that. Up in the picture, I should do what with it? If what he just told me is true, if Gabriel's not lying to us, then up here in the picture, I should put what? Like a hash mark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to do 1
I
hash
thought
mark.
that you were doing with the curves. I thought you were going to do 2 curves for 2 and 3 and 1.
Oh, you could do it that way too, right? So sometimes if they don't want to put hash marks, they'll just say this is 1 curve, this is 1 curve, this is 2 curves, this is 2 curves. So it's similar to the hash mark thing. If they match up, yeah, you could do it that way. Yeah. Okay, so 1 is congruent to 4. Why?
It has to do with the way that the transversal line intersects the two parallel lines.
It does.
That just because the angle it crosses them makes those perfect angles across from each other, not concurrent angles across from each other.
It has a lot to do with what I just said about these two have the same slope and this has the same slope all the way down. There is a proof for this and we will get it. They're not terrible proofs in this class. We can do them all pretty easily. But basically what it boils down to, I'll walk you through it and then I'll let you work on the rest of them over the next 2 days. So think about it this way. How many degrees is a straight line? 180 degrees, right? So no matter how big angle 1 is, angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. Everybody agree? Okay. And then this way, this is also a straight line, so that's also 180 degrees. So no matter how big 2 is, 2 plus 4 is 180 degrees. So if I kind of put those together, 1 plus 2 is 180 degrees, 2 plus 4 is 180 degrees, then those have to be equal to each other. 1 plus 2 equals 2 plus 4. What do they have in common? Angle 2, right? Take that out, so 1 is congruent to 4. Okay, so we'll see that proof more as we go along, but the basic reason is because they're called vertical angles. Vertical angles. Okay. So we'll start getting those kinds of words in here, those kinds of definitions, and we're going to go really in depth into this on Thursday. I just want to give you a little flavor of it right now. So if you know some of those things, then you can go on and look at them and play with them. But here's my thought is, so if we use that idea, the idea that we just got from Gabriel, what about 2 and 3? They're congruent because they're vertical angles, right? But is 2 congruent to 4? Why? Oh, I drew mine specifically so that one of them was a really big angle, greater than 90 degrees, right? What are those called? Obtuse, good. And one's a really small angle, less than 90 degrees, so those are cute, so cute little angle. Yes, so they're less than 90 degrees. So of course they're not congruent to each other, right? 1 is not congruent to 2, but 2 and 3 are congruent because they're vertical angles. So if you know those kinds of things, then work on it between now and Thursday. If not, don't stress out about it because we're going to go more in depth. And I am out of time. So the only thing that you have due right now, I believe, is an email to me by Friday. Sorry, I went over a minute or 2 late. I'll try not to keep you late all the time. If you guys have any questions on the Zoom, let me know. Otherwise, we're outing. So thank you guys, and I hope to see everybody on Zoom or in face-to-face on Thursday. Okay. Have a great day. If you have a question, let me see. I'm echoing in here. Yeah, so that'll be kind of the and I'll just, what I do is I give you a prompt and I'll be like, tell me about yourself. Yeah, like this one right here is a bit of a you'll get them as we go. They're pretty easy ones to do as long as you can come up. You're welcome. I do have a seat. No, you have. Do you want that better or do you want both?
Both.
Oh,
I didn't want to take a spot away from someone else, so if there's an open seat, I'd like to.
that was Jessica, right?
Summer.
Oh, Summer. Oh, they all left me. Okay, I'm ending the Zoom. If you're watching, have a great day. Bye.